That's right. We're back.
We're back here.
Yes, fertilizer, man. We were just talking about that.
Fertilizer, that's right. Thank everyone for joining us again. YouTube.com/Salt of the Streets. Make sure that I tell you to like, subscribe, and comment on all the videos here. Share them with your friends.
That's right.
We also have our Instagram.com/Salt of the Streets. Patreon.com/Salt of the Streets. If you want to go there, help us go and make more and better content.
It's wicked sweet.
Facebook, fuckfacebook.com/Salt of the Streets. You can find all this information on our website, saltofthestreets.com. Including our personal social media. I am at Salt of the Street on Twitter and at alpaca_Donovan on Instagram. And Colin is at Big Bird Offie on both of those things.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to watch some gaming, go to Twitch. Lexi, Kaya on Twitch. Leggings and aprons if you want some cakes. Swell Blended if you need a haircut in the local area. And Location Skate Shop if you need a skateboard downtown Bremerton. Make sure when you subscribe to the Patreon, when you become a patron, we have our book club live streams every Thursday, the review preview that comes out on the first day of the month, with the newsletter that comes out on the last day of the month. We have clips every day on the Instagram and the YouTube.
Woo!
We have the beer shows that come out on Friday. Loads of content there.
Loads of content.
Help us make more and better content. Better editing, better things.
And don't forget, if you're interested, patreon.com/Salt of the Streets tonight, later on this evening, part 5 of 4 of episode 123 of Salt of the Streets. So if you want in on that, in our extra segment, it is a Patreon exclusive. So get over there right now and subscribe. And with that,
excellent. We have the grab bag. This was segment 4 of 4. It's grab bag time.
Grab bag.
Grab bag. So, okay. What we're going to do here, got a couple of different topics going on. And
for any of you newcomers, the grab bag is basically just the smaller topics that we find throughout the week that, maybe don't quite qualify for their own full segment. But obviously, we're interested, so we're talking about it.
Yes. So the first one that I have here is the child tax credit.
Indeed.
This is something that I want to talk about just kind of in generality about the policy itself.
Yes, because I want to ask you about this as well.
Yes.
Because obviously a child tax credit requires the children, right?
Yes.
And as somebody that does not have children,
yeah,
I almost kind of feel discriminated against a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But so I really am interested. So I'm very excited.
The child tax credit, the way that it was initially is during COVID, you got payments, right, of like $1,200, I think, when the stimulus came out for
it was like
kids.
monthly or something, right?
These are the stimulus payments for kids, and then
and
then the child tax credit, it was kind of morphed into the child tax credit, where they expanded the already expanded child tax credit. It was. When I was a kid, it was $1,000, and then when I had a child the first time, it was $2,000. Under the Trump tax cuts, it was expanded to $2,000.
Yeah.
After that,
almost like Trump did a bunch of good stuff for families on the taxes. Weird.
After that, the child tax credit was expanded, I think, to $36,000 or $4,000, depending on how old your kid was. I think that's what it worked out to eventually. So
you like when you do taxes, you got to tell them how old your kids are.
They just know.
Because I mean, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So,
oh my. Okay.
And you only get part of it throughout the year, and then the other part you get in a lump sum when you file your taxes. So I got $300 a month, and then I think it's like another $1,800 credit when I file my taxes.
That's what's up, man.
Yes. So
I mean, I can't imagine how fucking expensive it is to be raising a kid. So, like, it totally. To me, I'm like. I mean, that seems like the least the government could do is cut parents a break on taxes.
Just a more breakdown. It expired in January, and it was supposed to be part of the Build Back Better plan to continue it, I think, forever, or at least for the next 10 years, because Build Back Better fell apart.
Yeah.
Obviously, that never happened.
I shared this with you guys.
Oh my gosh, what is happening right now?
So a friend of mine.
A friend of yours says Washington State ban magazines to hold more than 10 rounds. Yeah, we talked about that earlier. We talked about that.
Read his comment.
Oh, thank you, Washington State, for the dirty politics. Wait, here. What's the? Okay, here. There's room in Kentucky if you guys want to move. Hey, we're going to Kentucky.
I appreciate it.
Yee. I don't know anybody in Kentucky, but Kentucky's not. Oh, we can have Mitch McConnell. Doesn't he? He's a Kentucky dude. There you go.
I actually have family from Kentucky.
Oh, shit.
There's that. My grandpa was from Kentucky.
Oh, really?
My grandpa Hobie.
I wonder what the hunting situation is like in Kentucky.
He was one of 12, so I have quite a bit of family there.
Interesting.
Yes. So something to consider. There's a big,
I had no idea you
there's
had a bunch of family in Kentucky.
yeah, a big
I've
ginseng.
known you for a long time, bro. This is
Yeah.
new.
Yeah, Money, Hobart Money.
Hobart,
Is his name. Yeah.
no.
I swear to God, that's my mom's last name. Yeah, my mom's maiden name is Money. You didn't know that?
Kathy Money, what's up?
Yeah.
I had no idea. Okay. Sorry.
Yes.
That was a lot.
the monies-
That was a lot really quick.
The Monies of Middlesboro, Kentucky. There's an explosive ginseng industry in Middlesboro.
Yeah, oh, that doesn't surprise me. You know why? You know what taught me that? It's Red Dead Redemption 2.
There you go.
That was part of like some of the forging and stuff. You find jinxing and stuff, and that led me down a rabbit hole one day. Then I was like, oh my god, like America used to be like fucking what's up with ginseng back in the old West? What happened to that?
Yeah.
But
It's all in Kentucky now.
well, yeah, your family ran the whole thing, and they took a bunch
yeah,
of money.
Yeah, exactly.
Who the has you money, bro?
I know.
Sorry, go ahead.
So
Go ahead.
the child tax credit, right? When it happened, I've had a lot of discussions about this because a lot of the justification for the child tax credit was that people couldn't afford to have children. You know, people can't afford to have kids right now.
Yeah.
And, you know, people shouldn't have to be choosing, you know, this over a child or blah, 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 blah. And I don't doubt or question that people who have children, most of them could use a little bit extra cash, you know, definitely.
Who couldn't? You know?
Yeah, I was able to put a little bit of money away. You know, Jordan we're having a second baby, so we used some of that money to help pay for the midwife, and the other part we just like threw in a credit card, you know, because it's $300 a month, so it was like $100 on a credit card, $100 to the midwife, and the $100 to just in the savings. So I had like a little bit of money in the savings, and I enjoyed it, obviously, but I haven't gotten it for a few months. I've not noticed that it was gone, and that's not to say like I make so much money I didn't even notice it was gone. But we treated it as money that we didn't have before. We treated it as money that if it went away, we wouldn't miss it because we didn't have it before, and that's why
don't rely on it.
No, and that's why we didn't use it to like pay our truck payment, you know, or like pay a credit card payment. It was additional money on a credit card that we paid every month. It was additional money that on top of what we were saving for the midwife every month.
Yeah,
you know,
the $300 a month on your credit card was not the only $300. It was like I'm matching what I'm already paying.
Right. So when it happened, I said and still say I don't. This is a weird, maybe to some people, Thanosian view. I don't think we should be incentivizing people to have more children. I think there's too many people on the planet already. That's my personal view. I don't think people should be incentivized to have children. If you can't afford to have a child, don't have a child.
Word.
I waited legitimately. Anyone can reach out to my wife and ask her. When she started talking to me about having a child, I said, I need to make at least X dollars per hour before we can have a child. Why? So because that's how much money I need to make per hour to feel comfortable being able to support you and a child at the same time. We waited till I made X amount of dollars per hour, then we started having a baby. Crazy concept. I fucking know. I know it. You know, that I had to wait until past time. I had to control myself and use protection with my wife for longer than I wanted to.
You're like a 60-year-old
It's
conservative
so
man
weird
right now.
It's so weird. Yes.
It's so how dare you think rationally and objectively about this situation?
Far be it for me to impress my own values on anybody else. I don't think that you should have a child and expect the government or society to take care of it for you or help you take care of it. I don't agree with that.
Whenever you're ready.
If that $300 a month is going to make the difference, then you shouldn't be having a child, in my opinion. You should wait.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Yep. You know, there's a clip. I want you to go to YouTube for Breaking Points, and it was from their episode on the 21st of February.
February.
Yeah, it was Crystal's Breaking Points for the 21st of February. And I have a clip that I want to play.
I'm trying to like learn how to Jamie it up with one hand type.
Yeah.
And it's pretty dope.
We can watch, it's like 3 minutes, so we can just watch the
21st.
First 3 minutes. Yeah, the 21st of February. We can watch the first 3 minutes of her. If you go to the playlists, it'll be easier to find, probably. And then just go to the 21st.
Oh, shit, that's dope.
Yes. And it's her breaking
That's a
points.
really, there's a world out there, a micro world of really shitty YouTube playlists.
Yes.
And I like this.
Theirs
This is
is
good.
good,
I
yeah.
appreciate that.
And so what this is, right, in the first part, it's a compilation of TikToks that I really don't agree with. And it's a bunch of...
It's how DC elites sacrifice kids to...
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's it. And it's a bunch of TikToks, and, you know, it's like, oh, it started as this, and all these people were talking about that they couldn't pay their bills and the tax credit, and they couldn't... I sympathize with that. I'm not a rich man, okay? I live in a basement apartment. I'm not a rich man, just so that there isn't any, you know, aristocratic blah, 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 right? If you couldn't afford it before, you shouldn't be having fucking children. This $300 from the government shouldn't make the difference for you. I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
That's wrong. That is wrong.
Means you put yourself in a bad spot.
So the first part is TikToks that are people just talking about what a difference it makes. One woman that's like, oh, when it finally pays to be a single mom of 3. What the fuck are you talking about? Again, far be it
Yeah,
from
what
me
does
to
that
impress...
fucking mean?
Far be it for me to impress my views on anybody.
Seems
Maybe
depressing.
there is a separate issue other than your lack of money that you are a single mother of 3. Again, let me underscore this, right? I was raised by a single mother of 2 with my
Indeed.
grandmother. Do I question my mother's morals? No, I don't. She was divorced. Things happen. They didn't belong together. Is there unquestionably, not with my mother, there's nothing wrong with her. Is there unquestionably something wrong with the situation that she is a single mother of 2? Yes. Yes. Unvariably, unquestionably. There is a problem with single parents. I don't care if the solution is 2 dudes, 2 women, a man and a woman. I don't care. 2 parents is better than 1 parent. You're fucking up if you are at a position where you are a single mother of 3, a single parent of 3. I don't care if you're a man or woman. If you're a single parent of 3,
Seems
you
like
are
a bad-
fucking up.
Yeah. That ain't,
Okay?
That it's not the way it's supposed to work.
No.
So, that in mind,
Let's watch the first 3 minutes of this clip.
first 3 minutes.
Yeah,
Okay.
the first 3 minutes, and we'll be good. It's really after there's a clip at 2 minutes of some politicians, and after that, then we can cut it off. So
Word. Let's do it. Damn, I hit the wrong button.
Started. So I got my first child tax credit payment today, which means the government has officially paid me more child support than my baby daddy ever has.
Camera so fat you can see it from the back. Go babies, go babies, go babies, go babies.
You gon' make me need Bill, know that. Not even with your friend, you ain't even have man lying on you. You know that. Got me.
So TikTokers, they're posting about getting their first child tax credits. But this now is how it's going. The child tax credit, which was enacted with great hope and even some seeming bipartisan support, was left to die in the cradle, expiring in December and leaving our most vulnerable families without what had been a rare and precious lifeline. The predictable result? Millions of kids plunged into poverty over the span of a single month. Between December and January, nearly 4 million additional children were pushed into poverty. That represents a month-over-month increase of 41%. We should be horrified at our nation's callousness, how easily we're distracted by shiny objects of CRT debates or AstroTurf podcast controversies, that we barely notice when something so critical to millions of children is pulled. And this, of course, comes at a time when our kids have been subjected to so many burdens and so much trauma. We closed their schools, we forced them to mask for years, and now we pulled the financial support that kept a modicum of stability. It is truly shameful. And it's worth thinking about what the hell happened here. Now, when the policy was first enacted, Democrats announced it with great fanfare, highlighting the massive benefits it would provide to children and how it would help us catch up to our developed nation peers in terms of how we treat our kids.
Today's the day that we say to the parents of America, help is on the way.
In the end, government's always about whose side are you on. Clearly, everybody up here is on the side of children, on the side of family, on the side of the future of this country.
In the United States of America, where we have the moral obscenity
Cory Booker, man.
of the highest child poverty rates amongst our peer nations, we are finally doing something significantly to cut that rate of child poverty in half and ending the savage injustices that are heaped upon families. This is an incredible, historic day.
They thought that the policy would become a new untouchable third rail program, something like.
Okay.
Well, that's certainly interesting.
So my first response to this, right? They obviously don't they don't actually care about you because they weren't willing to pass the single expansion of just this. They don't actually care about you. So all of this posturing, this whole big press conference where they're all going to take turns talking, we're finally making a difference. We're finally doing something. There's no doubt. You just saw it. They raised millions of children out of poverty. There is no doubt. I am not, by saying I don't agree with the reasoning for this, saying I don't agree with it. I benefited from it. I did benefit from it. I was able to start a savings account that I've never had before. I have money in my savings. I was able to pay down. There's no doubt that it benefited people. I don't think that it's a bad thing for people to have more money, especially if they have children, right? Don't think it's a bad thing at all. I don't think we should be incentivizing people to have more children. My solution would be quit taking so much of my fucking tax money when I have children to support. Don't give me more money. I don't want you to give me money. I want you to stop taking so much of my money. That's the solution. Don't give me more. I don't need a government handout. I need you to stop taking out of my fucking pocket every week when I get paid.
Yeah, because let's be real here. What is or was the child tax credit but a discount on your taxes? That's what that is. It's
a credit.
It's money the government is going to take from you one way to other, whether you like it or not. So here we're going to give you a 5% discount coupon for next year. Next year it's good for 2 years, and then maybe something else will happen.
Yes.
Surprise.
And now they want to roll back the Trump tax cuts, which increased your child tax credit from $1,000 to $2,000. All this talk, corporatist bullshit, all of this stuff, you're going to lose money. Yep. They don't care about you. They will not expand the child tax credit. They will reduce it when they roll back the Trump tax cuts. Yep. They do not care about you.
So if you're one of those people that essentially decided to, in one aspect or another in your life, live off of coupons from the government, you're about to be in a world of hurt, and that was a bad decision.
You made a horrible decision.
You fucked up. You should have known what this was. This is not a hand me out or hand me down. This is a temporary relief program. And I wish I had more faith in the American people, that more people would have done what you did essentially, and just been like, hey, you know what, this $300 extra in my bank account, we're going to use that. I owe credit card fucking debt, I'm just going to throw it at that. Hey, I just bought a car, I'm going to throw it at that. A smart investment versus a habit that you need to rely on, and there's two different sets of people right there, man. So it's people are going to be hurting, and that's why they're calling for it again. Like we talked about it in 204, I think, today when we talked about the State of the Union. That's why they were talking about.
We're impoverishing children.
Yeah.
Well, you fucked up. You
you
shouldn't have designed it this way. You literally designed it this way.
Yeah.
That if you didn't get another omnibus, then it wasn't going to happen again. You literally made it this way.
And unfortunately, because you recognize that and being like, you guys were dumb and you fucked up, but now they're in trouble. Right? They're going to be in trouble when something comes around. It's like, you feel bad, but now you're the asshole. You're just the asshole conservative who doesn't care about poor people's plight, except people don't know you. Like, they don't know where you came from and where you've come from. And you know the territory. Like, it's a fucked up situation, man.
Yeah. And like I said, I've had this conversation multiple times with people talking shit about, when I have talked shit about the child tax credit. Well, don't you have children? Yeah, I do.
I don't disappreciate the money.
I absolutely benefit from it, and I appreciate it, but I think this was a fucking terrible idea. Yeah. I think this was a horrible goddamn idea to just take this enormous hit on our deficit to give people money. I think that's a terrible fucking idea. I don't think that your choices are not my responsibility, and I don't think that even though I benefited from it, my tax dollars should go to a program for you to get money because you had children you maybe shouldn't have had. And I don't, shouldn't have had children. I love my children. How could you say that? You fucked up. I don't know. I'm sorry if you, not you, but you don't like that. I'm done mincing words on this type of stuff. You fucked up. You made a bad choice, and I'm not going to own that because I didn't do it. I waited. I waited until I made enough money to have a child, and then I waited until I had enough money to have a second child.
And I will say this too, to add to that point, more context, you waited till you were ready when you decided that you wanted to have children.
Yes.
When you decided that's where I need to be, and then because there's people that do it.
Well, accidents happen, Colin. I don't care.
I don't care.
I don't care.
And that's the
don't
funny
care.
thing is, like, yeah, your first child was very planned.
Yes.
It was very planned. Like, I remember that. It's a weird deal, especially because you are so young. Most people just assume one thing. But I was going to say, in this vein of thought, and because it's the grab baggy hour, I was hoping to slightly pivot off of that. If
Let's
you
hear
would
it.
kind of, okay, so child tax credit. I'm wondering, because this perspective you have on the child tax credit and the danger behind it, if I am understanding what you were just explaining, was that you don't like it because people do grow reliant on it, or they will fashion their lives around it, and they shouldn't do that, because all it's going to do is hurt people in the end, because it's not going to be there forever. It's not free money. This is temporary, and it's going to go away. Don't do this. People need to be able to figure their shit out.
I also fear the long-term implications of just continuing to raise more and more people under governmental welfare programs, quote unquote, you know, like, and it's not necessarily welfare program, but giving people money. That I don't think the continuation of that is a good thing for you to see. Oh, well, my parents got this much money when they had a kid, and so they were able to do this. I didn't for a long time, and I still don't necessarily buy into like the system incentive, like what it would call like the
It's okay. Don't worry about it.
like the welfare moms or whatever, you know, that
Okay.
like people
Yeah.
having children to get the money. I for a long time, and I still don't necessarily
Who's going to take care of all these
buy-
kids? You
buy
remember
that,
that?
you know, but
Dating myself.
the bigger that amount grows, the more legitimacy that argument has.
'Kay.
Right? When you start giving people large and large and large sums of money, and it's not just once a year you get another $1,000, you know, like that's really kind of
that's
illegitimate. It's very small, especially when you're talking about
Yeah.
someone who makes fucking $20,000 a year.
Yeah.
If once a year you get $2,000, I don't really think that that's going to be like, oh, I got to have another kid so I can get another $2,000 once a year. But
Because
when you're talking about,
what's 2,000 divided by 12? Not that much.
but when you're talking about $300 every month or $600 every month if you have 2 children, or now increasing that to maybe $500 a month for this amount of children, you know, for your children under this age, or $300 for this age, and that's a difference. And I'm not
It's a
saying
big
people are going
difference,
to
man.
continue to pump out children to increase that money, but I don't think it sets a good trend for people to, if that will make the difference, that $300 kid, then they feel comfortable having a baby, but it comes from the government. I don't think that's a good thing. I don't think if they're not ready, they shouldn't be doing it. You know, the population growth concerns me. It really, really concerns me. I'm
And
you know,
perfect.
maybe that's like a silly thing, but
It's
that
not a silly
concerns
thing.
me. That the chain reaction it could have from the natural progression of population growth, from people that are naturally finding their way there, to whatever population of people that $300 made the difference for. Now they're like, oh, well, fucking now we can have a kid. You know, that concerns me. Whatever jump that is, that concerns me.
Especially because there's a massive jump in logic.
There's already too many people. There's already too many people. We are running into different issues. Fucking the housing market. You know, I can't buy a house now. And it's not because I don't have enough money. It's because the corporatists are fucking me out of being able to buy a house.
Yeah.
It's not because I don't make enough money. There's no reason I shouldn't be able to buy a house with the amount of money that I make. There's no reason. Absolutely no reason. Other than involvement from hedge funds and corporations into the financial structure of fucking real estate
And government.
and the government's okay in it. The government, you know,
All they do is
hands
make it
off
worse.
of it. Yeah, I don't care. That's
No,
fine.
they are more costly than the corporate involvement.
Yeah.
We'll put it that way. So this is perfect. That means that I've got you exactly where I wanted you as far as segueing.
Let's do it.
You are in the right frame of mind for me to ask you this. Given that entire concept of what you were talking about regarding your feelings and your passions around the child tax credit,
Okay.
and people's reliance on it, which makes it then the relationship then from the government. It's been a long time since we talked about it, essentially since the last presidential primaries from the Democrats. Universal basic income has the concept of essentially just free money. Additionally, every month, like a monthly free money thing is more than, like you said before, a $2,000 credit once a year is like whatever, who gives a fuck, right?
Right.
But cumulatively, because that's a thing, but when it's sizable enough to make an impact to possibly change somebody's life trajectory, be like, oh wait, we got an extra $300 from the government. We can have a kid now. That's a bad decision. Now, when it comes to universal basic income, what are your thoughts on UBI right now?
I didn't think that it mattered because we talked about this before. And
Right?
I was like, I think
Yeah.
this is a good thing. Expansion of arts and blah, 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 blah. I didn't think it made that much of a difference until I saw the unemployment thing. And that's definitely not the only issue.
Well,
But to say it wasn't
yeah.
an issue is a lie. It was definitely an issue. To give people an extra $600 was a fucking bad idea and made a lot of people say, fuck that, I am not going to work. So,
Right.
and part of that, again, it's not the only issue because part of that is they worked shitty jobs before, like their companies suck. There's a whole lot of things that fit into
Fast
that.
food's still in a bad spot right now.
But the money was definitely a part of it, right? There's a lot of people that went back because their jobs weren't bad enough to, you know what I'm saying?
Word.
But
Oh, that was sad.
some of the jobs were bad enough that they wouldn't, like you said, fast food and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But
And there was new industries that came online too,
Yeah,
like work
I
from
did
home
not-
careers.
I did not think that $1,000 a month would make that big of a difference
But it did.
until I saw the 600, and then I was like, okay,
Oh fuck.
maybe it will. Maybe it will make a big difference, and maybe not necessarily for the better. Because
Word. Because
yeah,
what?
the automation
would
thing
happen,
that I
you know,
did,
that's crazy.
I wasn't sold on before. As like automation will happen as a result of this. I'm like, no, this is a way to combat automation. No,
Automation.
no, automation.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's not. I don't know that it's a good idea.
I don't think so
anymore.
either. All right, that's definitely. It's like now, especially, I'm like, wow, this is people. Like you give them a chance, man, and that was a letdown.
Yeah,
that was a pretty big letdown. All the people now that are like, oh my god, what do you mean I have to like? What do you mean I have to pay my? I got to start paying student loans again? Yeah, word.
Yes.
That was the thing before. Now we have to do that again. It's fucked up. But it's like you get addicted to that. This is why. Oh my god, this is a good example of like the old school Paul Ryan argument against like the what's the word, the term I'm looking for, the reliance of the state, the
Welfare.
the welfare state, right? It's like, well, just, you know, I wasn't a subscriber to the O'Reilly Factor back in the day. You know, I had the mug, I had the whole 9 yards. That was my era of what was going on during those Paul Ryan days and the fights against welfare and all this, and we need to make people more self-reliant and all this stuff. I'm like, that's a really old, like, people don't make that argument anymore about these welfare programs that once you start giving people money, you can't take it away.
Yeah.
This is the first time in a while that, like, the child tax credit and stuff, that's the first time in a while people have gotten a lot of extra money. Like, it wasn't a lot, you know, $300 a month or whatever, but you could do a lot with it. That's a sizable amount of money. It's not nothing,
Yes.
right? It's not $5 a month. This is $300 a month, bro. Like, it ain't gonna cover your mortgage, but you could definitely buy a new car. And that's not a good idea, obviously, but like you could. It's sizable. It's the first time we've actually been able to see that. Now imagine if it was 1,000. And then
Yeah.
if they had to renege on it, like, guys, this is a really bad decision. Like, we just looked at the numbers. Like, we thought Social Security was going to go broke soon. We're all going to go broke like next year. We can't do this anymore.
Yeah, the government giving people money is a bad idea.
Yeah.
Really bad idea.
I think that's
I think I underestimated
Moral of the story.
the reliance that people would have on it. You know, I just didn't think that people would
Really?
lean on it that bad. I didn't. I really didn't. I really thought that people would, which seems foolish now, you know, but I really thought more people would consider it, like I said, the way that not that I'm like, oh, I fucking did it so good, but like, I thought more people would consider it the way that I did, of we should act like this money doesn't really exist,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, 'cause
Surprised there
it's
isn't
like-
more people who just put it in their savings account and just
Yeah.
didn't fucking touch it at all, you know?
Yeah.
I'm just going to wait until something happens. I'm not going to touch it because I didn't need it before and I don't need it now, but
Yeah.
because I have a hard time. And I'm not excluded from this.
Okay.
Thinking that if the $300 makes a difference between like make or break, then there aren't other things that a lot of people could shift in their budget. You know, and I'm not saying everyone, because there are some people that it will. I'm not saying everyone, and I'm not
Yo.
I am not excluded from that. If
Yep.
I needed $300 extra bucks, there's a lot of shit I could stop buying. I fucking buy cartridges all the time. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of shit I could cut out to
You buy a lot of what all the time?
cartridges.
Oh, word.
Like weed cartridges,
Yeah.
you know?
I
So
I spend money
yeah,
on two things:
beers and
beer,
shit, you know?
beer
Yeah.
and weed,
It's a lot of shit that I could, not a lot of
and
shit, but
studio
there's,
equipment.
there's stuff that I could not buy if I needed that money to make the difference.
Yes.
You know, right now I afford myself the luxury to buy those things because I'm not in that position.
Yeah.
I know
It's a standard of living question.
I've also seen people on unemployment who are also purchasing weed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to sit there and fucking shit on that person because it's none of my business. You know what I'm saying?
Weed, dude. The government has told us weed is an essential industry with essential workers. You need to be able to buy weed if you live off of EBT.
So there's a problem. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? There's obviously a problem, you know, and I don't know. You can't make anybody be responsible with money, you know,
To push back,
and that's
slightly.
unfortunately one of the good things about EBT and shit like that is you
Yes.
can only spend it at the grocery store. You
Exactly.
can't buy alcohol with it. You
Exactly.
can't buy cannabis with it. You can't buy even
Things-
pre-cooked food with it.
yeah, things in the welfare state that exist that actually do good make it really hard to argue against the welfare state, because essentially when somebody like you or I who can understand and appreciate the welfare state, right? And you know, because when we're talking about UBI, which I originally asked you about,
Right.
what we're really talking about is a form of welfare. It's a form of government assisted living, right? That's what this is all about. We just disguise it all now in a various plethora and schmegma. Oh, that's a bad word. Carolina's going to get angry at me. I'm sorry. Because that's a real word that actually means things. It's really gross and nasty.
Yes. I can't believe you just said that on our show.
Are you serious? I didn't know that was a thing. Anyways, moving on.
Just dripping all over the
Don't do that.
What?
Anyways. I lost my point. Jeez, that really threw me off.
All the different terms.
All the different terms. Nope. UBI, government assistance, blah, blah, blah. It all adds up to the same thing, right? Which essentially becomes this inability in a lot of people to make good decisions. And that's what makes that conversation hard, talking about UBI, talking about this, because there are good examples of good programs that do good things, that actually work. And a lot of it is really about like corruption and like bloated bureaucracy and all this shit, which is because that's what government is. It's just a really, really expensive human machine to get things done. That's what a bureaucracy is.
Right.
It's very expensive and it's very inefficient, but it works essentially, kind of, sort of. We don't need that, but that's something you pay for.
Yeah.
So, anyways, it was I think the overall interest in the conversation of UBI as a whole now, especially after COVID, like it was real big before COVID, right? Because we'd come off the presidential
And right at the start,
election and
yeah.
Andrew Yang and all this stuff, but like then it just dipped right after there was like some form of government assisted living that had a good impact on people's lives. Not a good outcome. And so now I wonder how many more people now would be even semi-interested in that working out. I feel like it's just gone now.
Should take a national poll to see what happens.
We should. I feel like every now and again, like there's these little things. 'Cause Andrew Yang has started. He's got this weird like political wing thing going on. It's like the Freedom Party? I want to say something like that.
Freedom Caucus?
No, not the Freedom Caucus, but like Andrew Yang is like some kind of weird little niche political movement going on, particularly in New York after his run for like governor and shit that didn't work out. But I feel like we need to like watch out for what he's going to be doing in the midterms. He might be cooking something up. Like Andrew Yang is not a politician. Why is he still running for office? You know, why is he still doing that? But I wonder if his old platform used to be UBI. I don't know if anybody's got that stomach for that conversation anymore. That might just be a thing of the past. And
I think that, yeah.
I mean, do you think the child tax credit's going to be around again? Do you think people still want it? Are they going to be using? That's going to be a midterm thing.
People definitely still want it.
You know,
Definitely still want it. I know the people still want it. The citizens still want it. I don't think
people, bro.
I don't think anybody in Congress ever wanted it. Well, I guess I can't say that. I don't
want it
think-
as a campaign item or something.
right,
maybe.
right, as a campaign item, not
know,
for themselves.
Yeah.
It's tough to say whether or not I think it'll ever be back.
Right.
I don't know about that. I'm
It
not
didn't work out so
convinced-
well when we actually had to try it.
I'm not convinced that it will be back.
You know, there's always going to be those people that are like, well, yeah, you know, we gave everybody like a few $100s between all the systems during COVID. You know, you had unemployment insurance from the federal aspect, plus the states, plus you had like all these different ways to get money. If you didn't have a job, you can get. There's a reason nobody fucking went to work when everybody had to, right? There's a reason we're still negative millions of jobs.
I will say
Mm-hmm.
that I think if it comes back, it will be quote unquote permanent. Like it won't
And it'll
be
be exponentially more.
it'll be written into the tax code, something they'll have to repeal as a change in the tax code, as opposed to a piece of legislation that says for a program for X amount of years. I think that will just be the permanent quote unquote, like I said, because it can be changed at any time,
Yeah.
as we've seen by Donald Trump and all these things. But I think it will be written in the tax code and not a piece of legislation itself. Is what I think.
It'll be
A separate program, I
a
should say.
decentralized version of something that when culminated together might be able to be called UBI.
Yeah, and
Right.
and likely more because
Yeah, it'll
it will-
definitely do more.
You could call it like a children's UBI. You know, certainly it will be that, because I think it'll definitely be more if it's introduced in the tax system as opposed to a separate program that's supplemental to the tax system.
Yeah.
If it becomes a new legitimate tax credit, I think it will be much more.
Yeah, because when you think about it, what's the one thing that the government, it's kind of within the federal government's lane, is like through taxes. That's the easiest way for them to work and manipulate society, because they run it all. It's all directly run by them. It's one of the few things that they do run over like states. They don't have to go through anybody.
Right.
Everybody got to pay the Fed taxes, so they can just dictate what it is. So it makes it easier and more reliable. So that's potentially, without, otherwise you'd have to have some kind of new agency with a new program of blah, blah, blah. And if you just do it, hey man, everybody gets, if you have this kid, if you have one kid, you get X amount of dollars, two kids, blah, blah, blah. If you don't have any kids, then there's this, because there still is the standard tax deduction.
Yeah. And this one was even separated by age too. Under 6 and over 6 were different denominations of money. Like how much you got per month and how much, because it was a total amount broken up. So how much you got per month was dictated by how old your child was too. So I think it was like
Do older kids get more money?
Younger kids got more money.
Oh,
Because diapers and things like that.
Oh,
Diapers,
yeah,
formula,
yeah.
shit like that.
Yeah.
So
The older they get, the earlier they can start working.
it wasn't like a ton less. Like I think it was maybe $250 a month instead of $300 a month, and so I'm not sure what the total overall number was. I think maybe $3,000 and $3,600. I think is what it was. So
Damn.
yeah,
That's
so
not
you
bad,
got
dude.
A certain amount broken up over per month, and then the rest of it as a lump sum during your tax credit.
Okay.
So, and that's how it was. Like when we filed our taxes last time, because there was whatever bill it was at that point that was an increased tax deduction, and so we got a fucking fatty piece in our last taxes too.
Yeah, I just now got my tax stuff back from my business, so now I can officially file taxes. And I'm
Last time I did taxes, I bought fucking ammunition. All the money I got from the government the last time.
What do you get money from the government? Oh yeah, don't open a business.
Yeah,
you just wait, buddy. You just wait.
The only thing I spent my government money on was ammunition and paying off my debt, separating myself from the financial system and purchasing ammunition.
That's so
Those are
funny.
the only two things that any of my stimulus money went to at all.
That's, you know what?
Money and
That's
debt,
a
or
fantastic
bullets and
investment.
debt. Yeah, that's it.
I'm glad I got to pay for part of your bullets
Here
and
for
shit.
it. That's
You
how
know,
I was
here
my
for
own
it.
tax dollars. You know, I'm definitely gonna do it.
Oh my god. Okay, so if we could segue to something that I know is in our 4 of 4 segment.
Yep.
How do you feel about maybe talking me through a little bit of this PRO Act? Tell me a little bit about the PRO Act. I know
Yes.
that's in there. Do you
Okay,
feel
so
good
let me
about that?
Pull up this.
I don't want to
PRO
like
Act.
front load you or
Nope,
something.
no. This is a document that I pulled, and this is from edlabor.house.gov, and so this is just a PDF from.
Hang on, let me process this.
Yep.
So, labor. Is it ed.labor?
Nope.
Okay,
Labor,
ed
which
labor.
is like education on labor, I believe.
Education on labor.
I think.
Okay, so this-
.government/IMO/media/document. So this is a document they released to the media about the PRO Act.
Okay. Yep.
is what it
Yep.
is.
I was gonna say, how many agencies did this run through? And it
Oh,
sounds
here
like
I'll-
only really one.
Yeah, here, I'll send it to you.
I'm very interested.
Copy.
I love
Signal.
government alphabet soup agency memos that change everybody's world, especially when you think about
Yes.
the people that run that.
And it's from the House. So
Oh, it's from the House. Hot dog.
edlabor.house.gov.
Oh, perfect. So it's from the
So this
House.
is the document. So I'll read from here.
Hot dog.
Let's see. The American economy is not working for most Americans. While corporations and the wealthy continue to capture the rewards of a growing economy, working families and middle-class Americans are being left behind. From 1980 to 2017, average incomes from the bottom 90% of households increased just 1.1%, while average incomes for the wealthiest 1% increased more than 184%. So
Can I
go
pause
down.
you for a second?
Yes, sir.
This is from the House, right?
Yes.
They're talking about themselves.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to make that point because it's true.
The people who wrote this are, in fact, in that 1%.
Yes.
Just so you guys know.
Yes.
Yeah, so the inequality is not natural. And we'll go into the Protecting the Right to Organize Act, which is PRO Act, protects the basic right to join a union by, number one, introducing meaningful, enforceable penalties for companies and executives that violate workers' rights. 2, expanding workers' collective bargaining rights and closing loopholes that corporations use to exploit workers. And 3, strengthening workers' access to fair union elections and require corporations to respect the results.
Is this
Yes.
supposed to be selling the concept to me?
Yes.
Okay.
Introducing meaningful enforceable penalties for companies that violate workers' rights. Authorizes meaningful penalties for companies and executives for violating workers' rights. The bill authorizes the National Labor Relations Board, NLRB, to assess monetary penalties for each violation in which a worker is wrongfully terminated or suffers serious economic harm. What? The bill also permits the board to impose personal liability on corporate directors and officers who participate in violations of workers' rights or have knowledge of and fail to prevent such violations. That to me sounds like it's going to cause a lot of like corporate shielding. People using a lot of very coded language and very vague conversations about certain employees so that no one can be tied to the firing of a certain employee is what it sounds like.
This is fucking terrifying.
Streamlines access to justice for workers who suffer retaliation for exercising their rights. Rather than ending a long period of unemployment waiting for their case to be heard, the bill requires the NLRB to immediately seek an injunction to reinstate the employee while their case is pending. So if you got fired and you're part of a union, they're going to get your job back while you're waiting to have a hearing about why you lost your job. Authorizes a private right of action for violations of workers' rights. The bill allows workers to seek justice in court when employers unlawfully interfere with their rights or retaliate against them for exercising their rights. My concern there is it's extremely difficult to prove what someone's intent was, whether they're a corporation or an individual. It's extremely difficult to, especially because most of the people, I don't want to say most. A lot of states you have to have a reason to fire somebody. You can't just do it, you know? So they are, even if they have to do some digging into your files and figure something out, you know, they find something that you should have, they find a way to show that you're not a perfect employee, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So,
like from a business owner, like how do you think unemployment works? Like, do you think the state doesn't ask your old employer whether you were fired for cause or not?
right.
Like that's like a thing.
Or if you quit your job, you can't file for unemployment.
That's
you have to
right.
be fired from your job.
Because when you file for unemployment, they're going to ask your last employer what happened.
Yeah.
Because you can't just, hey, I want free money. I'm not working right now.
Yes. Expanding workers' collective bargaining rights and closing loopholes that corporations use to exploit rights. Let's see. Closes loopholes. The bill prevents employers from misclassifying their employees and prevents workers from being denied remedies due to their immigration status. It also sets a joint employer standard that ensures employees across the country have the right to collectively bargain with all of the companies that control the terms and conditions of their employment. What that says is that even if you're an illegal immigrant, you're still able to be part of the union.
Yeah, I was going
And
to
if
say,
you're
what
part of
does
a
that
union,
mean?
That's what that means. And if you're part of a union and you work for a countrywide employer, you're able to collectively bargain with all of the companies that control the terms and conditions of their employment. So anybody who pays into that, you're able to collectively bargain with. That's a multi-tiered collective bargaining agreement.
Yes.
And collective. Okay, so let's hold on before we continue.
Yes.
A collective bargaining agreement is when you have a union. You have union representatives, and they get together with also the company that your union works for, and the representatives from the union and the board of the company collectively decide on terms of the contracts for the union, which would include your wages, your benefits, your hours, schedule, things like that. That is a collective bargaining agreement. So when I say multi-tiered collective bargaining agreement, you're talking about not collectively bargaining with one company, collectively bargaining with multiple companies whose money in some way goes into your bank account.
Just remember, as part of a union, you don't actually go work for the companies that you work for. You work for the union that has that
Contracted out
run
your-
through the
Yes.
union. If you're a unionized shop that works for a company, you don't work for the company, you work for the union.
Yeah.
And union gets to dictate what you can and can't do as far as your actually daily labor is concerned. So you really have very little control over your workers' rights when you sign them over to a union.
Strengthening workers' access to fair union elections and requiring corporations to respect the results, preventing employers from interfering with the elections. This bill prohibits employers from requiring workers to attend meetings designed to persuade them against voting in favor of a union. If a violation takes place or the employer otherwise interferes with the union representation election, the NLRB will be empowered to issue an order that requires the employer to bargain with the union. The bill also prevents employers from interfering in representation cases, which exist to determine workers' free choice, not corporations' preference about how their employees should exercise protected rights. Furthermore, the bill permits the employees to vote off their employer's premises in a neutral, non-coercive environment of their choosing. So this portion of it, right, is probably the portion I have the least issue with, because even just as recent as like Amazon, I think in Alabama, they were fucking with, they got legislation
Street
passed
lights
to
and shit.
shorten the street lights. So there's
It's
no
not the only
doubt.
state, by the way.
This is what I have here, right? So while anecdotal, my own employment is proof that a union is not necessary to have a solid, well-paying job, right? You don't have to be in a union. My company's excellent. If I were to unionize, I probably would have a worse environment if we were working in a union for Bennick.
Can confirm.
It would be bad. right?
Manufacturers unions are
And that's not
taken
to
advantage
say,
of.
I'm going to continue. That being said, I think we can recognize that sometimes when companies get too big, they can lose sight on how important their employees are, and and when that happens, employees need the ability to defend their own interest.
Yes.
Right? There are and remains to be and probably will forever be a role of unions in America, right?
I actually fought for one when we were talking about the Amazon employees for that particular
Yes.
situation. Like I found myself for the first time in my life. A lot of problems with the PRO Act here, by the way, as we go through it, which we'll get into, I'm sure. But fundamentally, though, when there's need, man, I don't have a problem with the union. But this is crazy. The Amazon worker thing, not that long ago, I still remember. I still supported their act, and I still support their idea to be in a union.
And I believe in the freedom of affiliation. So
100%.
I believe in your right to create a group in which you decide all together, collectively bargain with that company as your employees. This is what we're willing to to work for. And if that company says, fuck you, I'm going to hire somebody else, I believe they also have that right. It's a little bit shitty. It is what it is. It's relationships and whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I believe both things are true. You know, when unions first came around in America, I just watched a documentary within the last month about unions in southern West Virginia, coal mining unions, right?
Oh,
With
man.
coal towns, people literally being murdered in their homes, like horrible. Those people deserve the right to collectively bargain to not be murdered in their homes for wanting to work for more than 10 cents an hour.
Yeah.
You deserve that right. I believe in that. I would defend that, right? I believe in that. So
hard,
if
yes.
So we're not anti-union, right? However, again, I too think the political sway of unions is disgusting. We have seen the way they can shift policy even during a pandemic. Labor unions should not be affecting pandemic health and safety policy, right? That lends to the danger that unions present when they are allowed to grow too big. The perfect example is the teachers union, right?
Mm-hmm.
Able to literally shift policy on what schools are going to do, where
Yeah.
there are now studies of the negative effects that it had on your children. Looking at you now, audience, the negative effects it had on your children. The teachers union is why that happened.
And
they collectively bargained against you and against your children for their own protection, their own safety, their own money. They bargained against you. Just as Colin has pointed out before, public sector unions,
Bad news.
people being able to collectively bargain against the taxpayer, to bargain against your money, their own money, to take your money, it's not good, right? Private sector union,
Incestual,
all the way,
one might say.
all the way. Amazon, shit like this, we've talked about it. You
Yeah.
should not be able to. It is dark to have a hiring policy or a occupational policy in which your intent is to have people only work there for 3 years and recycle them so you don't need to pay them more money. That's fucking dark. That is
dark.
very dark. You are actively perpetrating people only making a certain amount of money.
And it
That's
definitely controls the bottom line, though.
It's dark.
Yeah.
Right? Those people deserve the right to collectively bargain in favor of their own interests. Right? I don't know about all of this shit here. I don't think that the corporations need to be involved in the elections.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing for them to be held in neutral ground and not on the grounds themselves.
Yeah.
I do think it's ridiculous that it would stop the corporations from holding their own meetings.
Yeah.
If you should,
Now, does this only apply to corporate businesses, or is this just to any group of individuals that wants to form a union?
it says corporations, so I would imagine
Okay.
it's only corporations.
Yeah, and see, that's the kind of the fucked up part on my end is that when it comes to the corporate side of things and corporate unionization, I almost kind of don't care in a certain aspect, mostly because if you're the type of corporation that is large enough
And this one
to
says
have
companies.
made, that's companies.
This one says companies that violate workers' rights. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. But
Well, because, and that's generally how I would kind of take this initially. I'm very offended at the prospect that this could become law, because essentially that gives every single business owner throughout America less control of their own business. At
Yeah.
some point, once they grow to a certain point, they will no longer be fully in control of their own business. Like, this caps the level of control a single business owner can have on their own capitalistic enterprise. And that's without the legal ability for someone else to come and have say in how you run your own company.
Yeah.
Right. If you're a company that runs at a certain, just one guy, one guy's the boss. He started the whole thing. It just exponentially grows. Bing, bang, boom. He's still the CEO. He's the number one boss man. All of his workers decided to unionize. It's still his company. I mean, what's wrong with that? Why can't the people just not work there?
yeah,
That would be the danger I would see you run into. So that's what worries me about the unionization effort in this one. It's like, where's the cap, man? Like, I feel good about it with corporations, giant corporations
Right.
like Walmart. I want those employees to fucking ruin that company and run it into the ground.
Yeah.
That works for me. If they want to commit, economic harikari by doing that and giving them that kind of power, more power to them. Go to town. I don't want you around anyways, but not mine.
and I
Not
think
me, man.
one of my biggest issues with it is the perpetration of the idea that you have to have a union job to have a good job. Like, if you don't have a
Yeah.
union, you're not being well supported, your company's fucking you over. And I just don't think that that's true. And I think that's a bad
It's not true.
it's
but
a bad message to give to people that
It is.
you need a union if you're going to have a fair job. And
do you
that's
know
just not
why
true.
that exists, though? Because this is coming from politicians and things, right?
Right. It's the political influence.
It's because
yeah.
the only thing, when they say I created jobs, right? And I'm not trying to mansplain to you, but for informative means, like, the idea is you get enough people to buy into this concept, and then how do I put it? Oh my God, I just had the point. I just lost the point. Sorry. Anyways, what were we talking about? Shit. I had the point, and then all of a sudden I was lost it, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I just
Proact unions.
Proact unions.
You don't
You
have
can't
to
get
have a
people on
union
the
job
phone.
to have a good job.
But that's how the government. Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's how they measure. Like, we made this many jobs.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. It's because the unions are supported through lobbyists and through direct relations with private industry to create, through the union to create jobs. When most government construction jobs or, government projects that, private companies can bid on and do work for, they always go to union
Prioritize
companies,
union jobs,
right?
yeah.
That's how that
Union
works.
companies.
And so, yeah, basically every time a government creates a job means they spend taxpayer money to create a problem for a company to do a thing.
Yeah.
And that company is going to be run, and we'll just say 9 times out of 10, that company is going to be a union company, right? And let's put it this way, for my personal business, right, in the engineering world, like I could not afford to work a union job and pay my guys the salary the union would require. It's called prevailing wage.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't participate that in, because that's what the union guys make, right? I can't afford that. Like I work with the rest of the plebs. I don't work with the government. Like those companies can afford that because the government pays those dollars because they have this incestuous relationship between the unions. That's the aspect I don't like. And it costs the more, and it doesn't happen right away. I should say that, right? It's not unions in general, which is why I side with like the Amazon thing. Unions can be okay in small groups, right? But when it's just like anything, the more power they get, the more power they crave, the
bids
more
get higher.
Exactly, the more corruption builds, and then that's where we end up with the teachers' unions, like the multiple teachers' union. It's not just one. That's kind of the problem. It's kind of like the old 4 meatpacking plants that Biden talks about. There's like 2 or 3 major teachers' unions that control vast majority of the states in the United States' education programs, right? And there's like 2 or 3 lobbyists there that make shit ton of money, that do real big favors and form incestuous relationships between teachers, unions, and politicians. And that's how we end up there. And the PRO Act, to me, seems like that is you're just like welcoming more and more people into that club. More and more corruption all around, but only for a select few.
And the union, they're essentially big companies, with like
that's why I said you work for the
enormous
union.
tax breaks and government contracts.
Yep.
That's really all that is.
Yeah.
Especially like when you're talking about a public sector union that is collectively bargaining against the people,
your neighbors, man.
Yeah. It's
Word.
to try and take more tax dollars to submit a bloated bid that will then be turned back to the heads of those unions.
Yeah. And you can't make the argument they'll pull it from like the defense budget. Like it's not going to come from somewhere else. It's going to come in the form of new taxes.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to come in the form of. That's
Unless
how that
it is
works.
a defense contract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all like the statewide, at least on the state level, they have to like form an initiative to do stuff like that and then increase the wages of their the public sector unions. Like we vote on that every single voting cycle. There's always something from like EMS and firefighting or police or schools, right? It's all those public funding guys that need COLA increases. We're always voting for more or less money in the schools, in the fire departments, and the police. But on the federal level, that's the unions.
Yes.
Public sector unions, anyways.
So on the other side of that, we have this bill that was introduced by Marco Rubio, right? And
Yes.
I sent you this article. It's from the People's Policy Project. So you know that it's not going to be necessarily in favor.
I was going to say, it sounds kind of
the
people's
Rubio
anything tells me like communist what?
In 1992, the Teamsters brought an unfair labor practice charge against a company called Electromation. The charge alleged that Electromation's 5 employee action committees were employer-dominated labor organizations that the existence of which violates Section 8A2 of the National Labor Relations Act.
Whoa.
The resulting NLRB case became a major event in the world of labor law, and many organizations filed briefs trying to influence the agency's decision. It was so big that the New York Times published 3 articles about it and included a note that in its paper's Business Digest. What actually happened is I'm skipping a paragraph. What actually happened is the NLRB ruled that the extradition action committees were employer-dominated labor organizations, but also made it clear that not all employee participation programs are illegal. Company-run employee organizations that made specific proposals on things related to conditions of work or other subjects of bargaining covered by the NLRA are not allowed. But anything short of that, including organizations that serve brainstorming, communication, or suggestion box roles, were still allowed. Despite the uneventful outcome of the case, overturning electromation and protecting employer participation programs became somewhat of a cause for the Republican Party in the mid-1990s. This cause culminated in the Teamwork for Employees and Managers Act of 1995, which passed the Congress only to be vetoed by President Clinton. So,
Wow.
the main difference, okay? And so it says, given this background, it was strange when last week Senators Marco Rubio and Jim Banks revived the mid-90s bill introduced by Teamwork for Employees and Managers Act of 2022. The 1995 TEAM Act was at least nominally aiming to solve a specific legal problem caused by a recent NLRB decision. But we know now that this decision did not actually create the problem the TEAM Act claimed to solve. Employee participation programs were not made illegal by exclamation, and they continue to be used quite extensively by companies across the country. There are limits to what they can do, but brainstorming, communication information, and suggestion boxing, all allowed by Electromation and its successors, already allow companies to glean pretty much anything they might want to glean out of this organization. The main difference between the 2022 TEAM Act and the 1995 TEAM Act is that the new one allows employee involvement organizations, EIOs, at very large companies to elect a representative that will observe corporate board meetings. I guess this is some kind of gesture towards the ideas of co-determination, but in real co-determination, the worker representative is an actual voting member of the corporate board, not a non-voting observer. Also, in real co-determination, the companies are required to have worker board members. Under the TEAM Act, companies can get to decide whether to set up an EIO up and make it rid of it whenever they like. So,
This is coming from Marco Rubio?
yes.
Huh.
So what that says, right? Essentially what the bill does is, as opposed to a union, the corporation is allowed to allow the employees to set up their own non-union, which is a group, and in that group they can elect a member of the board, or the board of representatives that will be a non-voting member, but they are there to represent the employees. They will be able to observe and do. So this article runs under the assumption that that non-voting member will essentially be shoved in a corner and completely ignored by the rest of the board.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure in some instances that will be the case. I am hard-pressed to believe that in all instances that non-voting board member will not be spoken to, won't be asked what they think, won't be asked what the employees think, won't be asked what they're there to talk about.
Yeah, no.
I think in most companies, especially in fucking Wokistan America 2022,
Yes.
that non-voting member would be asked all of those things. What do you guys think? What is on your mind? What are you hearing about? This is what we're doing. What do you think the employees would think about this?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that would not be a bad deal. Like I literally, I have a board.
It's no
Like
it's
I
no-
go to board meetings.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to envision this for myself on this small scale that I can
William
conceive
Wallace
of.
gets
Word.
to
That's
sit
what
there
I'm saying.
and represent
That's
the
the
opinions
deal.
of the employees. And
And
so
that I don't,
it's not a replacement
especially
for a
because
union,
I don't.
but-
It's not right, but when you really actually think about it, there are consequences to that. Like the company will not run the same exact way.
No.
Right. There are decisions made at certain levels that certain people might have opinions about that at the end of the day, when it comes to an employee-employer relationship, they don't need to know. Like that's the deal.
Yeah.
Like I don't really care. They don't need to know about this aspect of things, things or whatever. It's kind of like, it's almost like privacy, right? That's what that is. I mean, when you really think about it, like why should your employees necessarily have a say in how you run your company? If you're not a deadbeat fucking boss, and you're actually interested in the success of your company, you'll listen to your employees when they have things to say.
Yeah.
Right? Mind you, there comes a certain size and a certain business path where, especially in the corporate world, things are happening at scale where you don't know what your employees are doing. There's 10,000 employees. How the fuck do
Right.
you know what you're doing? You don't know. You don't care.
Even at Bennick, there's only 40 plus employees there. Tim and Dan don't know everything that happens there.
No. God, no,
so
man.
I think that this Team Act 2022 would, to me, seems as a good intermediary for small or medium companies that don't necessarily need a union because their employees are not being fucked over on pay or benefits, but maybe there are some things that are happening at a lower level that the bosses don't see that could be improved. So I see this as way more of like social issues being fixed, the way that problems are solved. I can see where a lot of interpersonal issues where, like, as an employee, I can see where there are things that happen the bosses do not see, and it could benefit even us at Bannock if there was a board to have someone there to say, so this type of shit is being talked about.
Word.
Whether or not you guys see this or this is really what's happening, this is what the general consensus is,
Yes.
And it would be good if this was dealt with.
Yeah. So
that's I can see the benefit that I can see of the Team Act of 2022.
Yeah.
And if that board member, the non-voting board member, was ignored, then they can go back to the employees and say they literally don't want to listen to anything I have to say. Let's fucking form a union. It's time to go. Fuck this. This is not working. This non-voting board member bullshit is not good enough because they don't give a fuck about us.
That's very true. Like the concept of what happens if that non-voting board member gets on there and doesn't like what they have to say and the rabble rouse, the people do, then I wonder sometimes at people's decisions to where some people draw the line and say, fuck this, I'm not working here anymore, I'm going someplace else. I know that I might take a slight pay cut or whatever it is, but I'm going to go someplace that appreciates my labor and my time and what I'm doing, and they're going to pay me a decent wage, and they're not going to treat me like shit.
Yeah.
Right? Compared to I am not going to, or I cannot find another situation in which my employment and my specialty or whatever it is, the exchange of goods and services that I'm offering with this company, I can't go get that somewhere else. So for some reason, you have to give this to me. So we're forming a union. Say, without this, we quit. And I say, okay, cool. The hirings start tomorrow. There's a fine line between, because how do you judge the corruption and not? Because the unionization, the rabble rouser of the non-voting member on the board, it still creates the union. They just don't have any teeth. That's my issue with that, right? Versus, you got a problem with your employer, you bring it up to your supervisor, and if they can't solve it, you fucking leave. But that's
quite that simple.
It's not that simple.
So
I understand that, and you're going to understand very, very soon, here in a week or two, whatever. It is definitely not as simple as that. It's not as easy as go get another job. Well, what do you mean? Sometimes that's just not whether you own a company or you just work for a company.
Right.
It doesn't matter because everybody knows it's not black and white like that.
Right.
But and that's the problem. That's where the gray area is, because there's a right and a wrong, and then there's like a ethically correct or fundamentally right. And then there's like, well, yeah, but sometimes people are just being dicks and don't pay people what they should be getting paid.
Right.
And there's too many of those situations that go either way.
Yeah.
Both entities could be corrupt, I should say.
Certainly. And this, to me, the Team Act seems like almost like it leaves a little more room for human involvement, like genuine human involvement.
Yeah, it's like forced care on companies.
Yes.
You have to listen to these people now. They are an entity that you have to contend with. They may not have any teeth, but just because they're not good, just because they can't form a union and file a lawsuit doesn't mean that they can't make life running your business fucking impossible.
Right.
They could totally do that shit. That's a good point. I like that. I'm a little warmer to this now.
Yeah. And like I said, I think the Team Act, the way that it sits with me now, would make a larger difference in like interpersonal issues. If things are being handled in not quite such a good way, or there's maybe an unhealthy culture that's developed in the employees,
Definitely. Yeah.
This would be a good way to deal with that,
because just throwing more power to the unions, which essentially are supposed to do the same thing, right? But there's not that many unions. Throwing that amount of power and money and support to the unions aren't going to fix the problem that actual employees of like medium-sized companies have versus the Team Act
Right.
would.
And some people don't feel comfortable going to their boss about something, you know? So
Yeah.
we can even use myself as an example, right? If I was going to try and talk to someone about the culture in a different department, you know, I don't necessarily, for why? What reason do I have to be discussing the culture in another department?
Sovereignty is very important to
Do
you.
you know what I'm saying? I have, to a large point, I have issue with the culture of the company, and I don't want to work somewhere where these type of things are permitted, you know? In reality, is it my business that that's the culture of the different department? Not necessarily, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's where I think
Like
those
it
type of
affects
things-
you, but
and
is it
I
really
could-
my say?
And instead of going to my boss, I could go to that member of the board and be like, listen, I just have some concern about the way this is happening. I feel like maybe they could be more involved or less involved or something like that would be good. You know, it's more, there's less pressure on that discussion as an employee than if you're approaching your boss.
Because you're
you know?
decentralized now.
And again, to use that as an example, if I was to approach Tim with something like that, I either need, it could be perceived as you're not paying enough attention to your employees and this is what's going on under your nose. Or you're not paying enough attention and this is what's being allowed to grow. Or this is the culture that you're propagating. Even if that's not what I'm saying,
Yeah.
it could be interpreted that way because I'm saying I'm unhappy with the culture that I'm next to or that I'm involved with, you know?
Yeah, in the form of like constructive criticism, it's always like, I mean, how many the prompts and things do you have to give people to say like, this is, I want to offer some constructive criticism. I totally support what you're doing, all this stuff, but here's a slight little,
and instead
that's
of
hard
that,
to do that. And especially coming from somebody that, like as an employer that you pay to do a job and they're like, hey, just
shut up and work.
word.
Exactly. So instead of that, you could approach someone like Shane, you know, and be like,
Yeah.
Shane, this is a concern that I have. And then it's Shane's job and his responsibility as that non-voting board member, as the representation of the employees to say, I'm not going to say any names because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But I've heard
here we go.
concerns from multiple people, even if it's just one person.
Yeah.
I've heard concerns about multiple people about this type of culture, this being allowed to happen. And if there was a shift, you know, there needs to be a shift.
Yeah.
You know, and if not, then there's not even like a threat or anything, but there needs to be a shift because people aren't happy about this.
Yeah.
It also could remove some of the responsibility from the employers of having to do that. You know, you don't necessarily need to be as involved on a daily basis because if there is something happening, that person's going to tell you at the next board meeting.
Oh, yeah,
they're going to
yeah,
come up and express that to you. So
because they're in the inner circle now.
there's less pressure on you, less pressure on your individual employees to report things like that. You know, that's the easier approach, especially if you're seeing. And now I'm just thinking, right?
Yeah,
If
yeah, yeah.
You're talking about
That's fun
time
thought
theft or
experiment.
things like that. You know, shit, you're seeing unhealthy
Oh,
behavior
word.
with other employees. I don't want to go to my boss and sell someone out, but I'll tell this person, listen, there's a lot of people fucking around. I don't like it. I don't see it. Maybe someone should be paying more attention or someone should be checking the time clocks or they should be looking at the cameras or something. You know what I'm
Interesting.
saying?
Yeah. Interesting.
There's shit because you own a business.
Yeah, I'm
even
like,
though 5 years ago you didn't own a business.
Yeah. There's
There's
shit I'm
you
like,
don't think
huh.
about, you know?
Oh yeah, word.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that for sure.
So I think that
That's a
because
very interesting
we share
concept.
obviously similar concerns about unions. You know,
Yeah.
this sits to me as like a good, happy medium from a workforce that doesn't necessarily feel like they or couldn't. Let's put it this way: a workforce that couldn't win a union vote to install a union,
Yeah.
but feels like something more needs to be done. This is like a good half measure in there that we need to have a more active role in the decision making, but we don't necessarily feel like we need to collectively bargain against you to make sure that we can get all of these things done. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. I still do wonder though at the outsized power that might actually have. And honestly, and it would simply be, it would never be like a mainstream thing when I think about it like that. You know, it's like what happens when, you know, the person at the company that has a lot of employees or whatever, and they've had a very long run of successful relationships with their non-voting members of the board and the employees. They have a good relationship, but the employees are always going to be employees. The business is always going to be the business side of it. You know, there's always that, it's, you know, how do you get a family-owned business again? That'll be a whole nother thing. But I could just see, like, at some point, somebody could have some potential in leadership or be extra charismatic and sociopathic and rise up as some kind of deranged leader. And, like, essentially just through mob rule at that point, because if the unelected if the person on the board that's there to represent the employees does not have any actual sway when it comes to like voting and decisions at the company, representation without it's a taxation without representation. Like, you're making us work all this shit and we can't actually have a say in this thing. And then you got a whole nother set of problems.
That's the concern from the labor unions.
It's kind of run away.
Yeah. This got brought up to me on Breaking Points, actually.
Okay.
Both the segments, the child tax credit and this were both brought up on Breaking Points. And I saw a small debate. It was their guest topic, where they had someone who was there to talk about the PRO Act and someone to talk about this Rubio bill. And that's how I learned about it, was from that segment. And that was the concern from the labor union. Is like, what's the fucking point? You know, if they can't do anything, then what is the fucking point? And I think that
just to cause but also you see on a smaller level when it could work.
I think if the company is to the point where you're saying, what's the fucking point? Then you need a union. But if you're saying this could work, then that works for you. And so I think that I'm not in favor of the PRO Act because I think strengthening the influence of unions is a bad idea. And that's not to say there aren't improvements that could be made to union corporate relationships, because I think that there are. I don't think the PRO Act is the way to go. I do think the Team Act is a great idea. I don't think it's the total solution to workforce business problems, but I think that's a really good half measure for, like I said, companies like Bennick. Again, Tim and Dan, if you're watching, we are not going to unionize. There is no danger of that. No one's even talking about it, so don't concern yourself, nor are we going to pull a Team Act on you. But for companies like Bennick, I think the Team Act could be a very good thing. Or companies like Team 4, I think that could be a good
I don't want to think about that. Thank you.
I just, I'm not a union. I don't, I don't think there's danger in William Wallace sitting in on your board meetings and saying, this is what the 7 employees are concerned about, you know, especially if there's got to be some type of understanding.
It's like those companies with like 50 to 60 to 75.
There's got to be an understanding between the board and that non-voting member of, you can't repeat everything you hear in here because this is a fucking board meeting. This is the board of directors. You cannot repeat everything that you hear, but your concerns will be directly addressed. And anything we can address right now, we will discuss as a voting board and figure that out. And you'll be involved in the discussions afterwards, you know, to think of that discussion. If
a requirement to be on the board requires you to sign an NDA.
Yes.
It's in the corporate agreement or it's in the LLC agreement. Yeah. But see, that's the thing though, because that could go bad too.
Because there's going to be some shit probably that the business also said that they don't need to know this, that they actually, the employees really do need to know that, you know? So I don't know about the NDA thing, but I think
at the end of the day, I think if everybody who's being a part of the company and working and doing this thing is actually doing, if they're not being pieces of shit, then everything will just work out.
I think so too. Yeah.
What are laws and regulations other than ways to stop people from going super corrupt and terrible?
So maybe this is again in that same instance where you have a family business and then maybe the next generation takes over and that person starts to kind of be a piece of shit. You know,
it's the roll of the monarchy dice. That's how that works.
This is a good half measure. Like, listen, we didn't do this with your dad because he was fucking fine and everything was good, but you're kind of a bitch and you're fucking us over, and so we think that it's time that we, as an employee, as a workforce, we have decided to create an employer participation program in which we have decided that, as is our right under the Team Act, to have a non-voting board member in the room during your board meetings. If you don't like that, we're going to unionize. We are going to do that. We're telling you now. We can start here.
Yellow light.
Yeah, we can start here and nothing else needs to happen so long as you quit fucking us over. But if you keep boning us, we will pull a union vote outside of here and we will fucking unionize. If this
is FIFA without a Russian team, mind you, because they're not allowed to be in FIFA soccer anymore.
No cats.
Yellow card.
Yeah.
You know, that's what you get at that point. And it's like, we're almost a union. We just don't have teeth yet. But don't fuck around because we will ruin your entire career. I mean, it's a thing. I definitely, I have mixed emotions about it, obviously, but I like it way better than the PRO Act. I'll say that much.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting.
Yeah. And again, if you're that much of a piece of shit, though, you deserve the union that's going to wreck your life. You know, if you're Cenk Uygur and your employees are trying to unionize, they're obviously pissed off.
You suck.
You suck.
Yeah.
I hate that dude. He's a bad dude.
And Experian, not bad, though.
I mean, sometimes.
As far as the Young Turks go, as far as the Young Turks go.
Yeah.
So the last little segment that we're going to hit for this fourth portion, because sports, we talked about sports already. I'll hit sports while you're there. We have, let's see, I'll even look up the dates for us. March Madness 2022. So the Combine is happening right now. The NFL Combine, we've talked about that every year. The NFL Combine, for those of you who don't know, is, if you ask Colin Kaepernick, it is akin to a slave auction. But in reality, the NFL Combine is a place in which college football athletes are able to go, are invited, and are able to display their skills for NFL scouts, teams, and the teams are then able to look at their skills, evaluate them, and decide who they want to put on their draft board, who they might want to take, things like that. So the NFL draft is coming up soon. I will look up that one as well. March Madness. Let's see here. March Madness tournament schedule and dates. Selection Sunday is March 13th. The first four is March 15th and 16th. The final four is April 2nd. So first four, it's March 15 and 16. Selection Sunday, March 13. That is for March Madness. Of course, March Madness is the college tournament for basketball.
Yeah,
so it
big
starts
deal.
as an enormous bracket. By March 24th and 26th, we will have the Sweet 16 and Elite 8. And the Final Four is scheduled for April 2nd and 4th. We have lots of good things going on there.
It's about the only good thing. And I'm not even a basketball fan. But, like, what else happens in, like, the January to, like, March, April time? Nothing. Nothing happens. It's just
Especially,
basketball.
There's a baseball lockout right now, so there's nothing. Did you know about that?
No.
Yeah.
Because we're about to hit spring training, right? Or are we in spring training time?
It should be spring training.
But they're locked out.
Yes. MLB lockout. What's next for baseball after league cancels first week of 2022 regular season?
Yeah, what
Major League
happens?
Baseball's owner-initiated lockout has now been taking regular season games off the schedule. On Tuesday, Commissioner Rob Manfred announced the first two series of the season have been canceled after MLB and MLBPA are unable to strike a deal prior to the league's artificial 5 p.m. Eastern Time deadline for a new CBA. Today's a sad day. We came to Florida to navigate and negotiate for a fair collective bargaining agreement. Despite meeting daily, there is still significant work to be done, the MLBPA Executive Director Tony Clark said Tuesday. The reason we are not playing is simple. A lockout is the ultimate economic weapon. In a $10 billion industry, the owners have decided to use this weapon against the greatest asset they have, the players. This is the first time games have been lost due to a work stoppage since '95. There are many reasons the deal was not struck in time to save an opening day. Well, let's click on that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
MLB lockout.
They say 2 series?
2 games.
Two
two
games.
series, yeah, I
2
think.
series, because that's what each series is 3 games, right?
It depends. You can have 2, 3, 4 game series, but they're probably 3 games.
Baseball, why are you so fucking complicated?
165 games. 3 reasons why owners and MLBPA
Greedy.
didn't reach a deal, including long wait for first proposal. This is from CBS. Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred made it good on the league's longstanding threat to cancel regular season games. Let's see. The season will mark, number 1, an unnecessary preemptive shot. Let's start from the top. The league didn't have to impose a lockout when it did. When the expiration of the last CBA on December 2nd, the two sides could have continued to operate under the sunset terms of the last CBA while negotiating on the side. The league nevertheless opted for the padlock, citing it as a defense mechanism that they hoped would hasten negotiations and prevent the loss of regular season contests. Obviously, that didn't work. Number 2, playing waiting games. As noted above, the league claimed the lockout would hasten negotiations. The owners then waited more than 6 weeks to make their first proposal to the players, eating into valuable time that could have used to preserve a 162-game regular season and undercutting one of the stated reasons for the lockout in the first place. Waiting has become a signature strategy for Manfred's watch, and it seems likely that the league and owners view it as a way to test the union's resolve. The league and players couldn't come to an agreement in 2020, allowing Manfred to unilaterally impose a 60-game season that June. Number 3, league's unwillingness to move on big issues. Most coverage of negotiations play up the idea of conceding and meeting in the middle. An honest analysis of the talks between the owners and players would find that the latter camp consistently ceded ground when the former did not. The league's CBT proposals, for instance, would have placed thresholds to $220 million in each of the next 3 seasons, a laughable increase when compared to the revenue gains the league would have experienced with an expanded postseason. seemingly the league's top priority throughout the negotiations. The players, for their part, requested a CBT threshold beginning at $245 million next season, and were willing to give the league 12-team postseason that would have created an additional $85 million in revenue in each October. CBT is the cap.
Okay.
That's how much money you can pay the players. The team cap.
Oh my God. Salary caps.
Yes. But another way a baseball references Sean Foreman did on Twitter, the players were asked for $1 to $2 million more per team per year in minimum salaries, $3 million more per team per year in pre-arbitration bonus pool money, and a CBT threshold that reflected the league's growth in revenues. The owners deemed that too much to give or come close to giving. This is ridiculous.
Wow.
There's so much money flowing around here.
Dude.
The fact that the nominal increases are $3 million
Right?
is ridiculous.
Like, wait. What fucking number? This is governmental, numbers
Yes.
going. This is
They're
like
literally dealing
1940s government numbers, bro, and
Yeah.
it's happening within a single league of a
Right.
single type of
Right.
professional sports.
Fuck, dude.
Oh my God.
Competitive balance tax.
I
offering
wonder-
deals that were wholly unreasonable.
Man,
competitive balance tax.
Have you heard of the new Daily Wire sports podcast?
No.
Okay, it's out now, and apparently it's the sports podcast you want without all the woke sports. Apparently, I don't know. I'm not a sports guy, but
Okay.
I might start listening to it because I wonder if I would imagine they'd be talking
I'm
about
sure.
this, right? And I'm like, what? I wonder what kind of perspective they offer, and I wonder what kind of perspective ESPN is offering. I mean, that sounds very. I mean, when you're all a bunch of elites arguing about, who's not as rich as the next person, I always come back to I don't really give a shit what you guys are doing, man. That's way too much money.
Yeah.
Those numbers are insane. I don't know what you're talking. You play baseball. This is entertainment dollars, man. I don't want to know about this,
That's
all
so
right?
much money.
At least in movies, when we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars, there's thousands and thousands of employees.
Yeah.
This is professional sports, man. I know the bureaucracy behind the sports is big, but there's a lot of money in there, man.
So what am I looking at? So the combine is happening right now. What do I have? I wrote
Combine.
Yeah, I meant draft. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
that's
because
it.
the draft.
Draft schedule, draft date, schedule, TV channel.
'Cause
The
for-
combine is happening right now,
Yeah.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday. The NFL draft will begin on Thursday, April 28th, and end Saturday, April 30th. So
Okay.
yeah, just 2 months to the draft.
Yeah. So right now, the combine's about to go on
It's happening right now.
right now.
Thursday,
and then,
Friday, and today.
Yeah, and so then there's a little bit of time for teams to discuss,
Evaluate,
and,
put together the
yeah.
draft boards, decide kind of what they're going to
Yeah, that
do.
makes
There's
sense.
still some trading and stuff. I don't think that the league schedule has not opened yet.
Mm-hmm.
There is time before the draft for trading and player acquisitions. Free agency opens up before that. So some shit to go on.
Some stuff to happen.
Yeah.
Well, snap, crackle, pop.
And no draft order for round 1. Jacksonville, Detroit, Houston, Jets, Giants, Panthers, Giants, pick from Chicago, Falcons, Broncos, Jets, Washington football team, which I think their name is going to be the Admirals.
Just leave it alone. Admiral Washington's.
Vikings, Browns, Ravens, Eagles, Chargers, Saints, Eagles, Steelers, Pats, Raiders, Cardinals, Cowboys, Bills, Titans, Bucks, Packers, Dolphins, Chiefs, and then it will be who just played. So it'll be Cincinnati and then LA.
I was gonna say, sounds like the Eagles had a bad year last year. They got a lot of picks.
Eagles made lots of trades. So the
Sounds
Eagles
like they were offloading.
Yeah, the Eagles have had lots of picks for a long time. So the 16th pick is from Miami. The 15th pick is from Miami. The 16th is from Indianapolis. So they traded Carson Wentz to Indianapolis. So they got some picks from that.
Let's see. I don't not have any first round picks.
We traded ours to the Jets. The 10th round pick, or the 10th pick the Jets have is from
To
Seattle.
the Jets, man, how desperate were we?
That was for
First round pick to the Jets.
what the fuck is his name? Jamal Adams. It's a safety we picked up. Was not worth the haul that we paid for him. Thought he was going to be at
that
the
does
time.
not sound like a good decision.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be at the time, but he was not.
Get all hyped for nothing.
So, yeah, that's
It's not
that.
a good game.
The last thing that we had was a bill to stop Congress from trading, but we can talk about that next time. Don't need to. Let's just find out. We can hear on the sports. Next time, we're going to be talking about kids, I think. So, so we talked about, we had the Don't Say Gay bill that we're going to discuss next episode. There's also that trans bill happening in Texas. So we're going to talk about that. That will be one segment focusing on children. And then we will work the Stop Congress from Trading Stock Act in there, even if it's in the grab bag.
Yeah,
so,
because I'm sure Ukraine and Russia will still be
probably
on
still
deck
be happening. So those things will be going
time.
on. Is there anything else that you wanted to make sure that got into this episode here? This is about good for this segment.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's about it. I think that's 4 for 4, baby.
Cool. Well, with that, we'll go and hit the social one more time.
Yeah.
I got a nice closer for us.
Fantastic.
I think that you'll like it. Comes from
I always do, baby.
out of this book here. So, with the social one more time, I want to thank you guys again, everybody. We go to the YouTube real quick, see if there's any last comments to hit, just to see if we.
Yeah, snap, crackle,
Nope,
pop.
no problem. Just to see if there's anything that we didn't hit. That's all.
Yep, wherever it is, there it is.
There it is. All right, Lonesome Monday, last one. So with that, I want to thank everybody for watching us here. If you enjoyed this, obviously, like, share it, subscribe, tell all your friends about it, leave some more comments here. We will be, we'll hit this now. We'll do a segment that we can put in the end.
Word.
These are going to be cut up as segments and released for, we didn't talk about it before, and what do you want, a Monday, Wednesday?
Monday, Wednesday.
Yep.
Monday, Wednesday, clips in between.
These are going to come out. One on Monday, one on Wednesday, one on Monday, one on Wednesday. The following Saturday will be episode 124.
Ooh, that
you are going to get a segment every other day. So you can also, this stream will still be up. So you can go in and watch the whole thing if you want. There's no problem with that. It's going to be excellent, but it'll be broken up a little bit easier to consume for people who like smaller podcasts. We will still have some clips in between those days. We'll have the beer show still.
Almost 6 hours is a lot to handle for some people. You know, I mean, we're heavyweights. We don't mind that, but
so we have a clip. We have a segment on Monday, a clip on Tuesday, a segment on Wednesday, a live stream on Thursday, a beer show on Friday. There will either
multiple layers of content.
There will either be a clip on Saturday or some type of something. Sunday is family day for both of us, so you hardly ever get content on Sundays because we're all doing family things.
We're like super dealerships like that, you know?
Exactly. Closed on Sundays for family day. Exactly. So that is how this is going to be released. Let us know what you guys think. Again, I want to thank you one more time for watching us here on youtube.com/saltofthestreets. We have our instagram.com/saltofthestreets. Patreon.com/saltofthestreets. Go there, help us make more better content. Obviously, we're on Facebook, fuckfacebook.com/saltofthestreets.
Fuck them.
You can find all this on our website at saltofthestreets.com, as well as our personal social media. I'm at saltofthestreet on Twitter and at alpaca_Donovan on Instagram, and Colin is at Big Bird Offie on both of those things. If you need a haircut in the next couple weeks, go to Swell Blended. Get a haircut there. If you need a skateboard, go to the Location Skate Shop. If you want to watch some gaming, go to Lexi Kayo on Twitch. Some cakes, leggings, and aprons on Instagram for the next couple weeks. Also, the After Dark segment that we will record right after this. It's a Patreon exclusive.
That's right.
If you want to watch it, you have to subscribe to the Patreon.
That's right.
Who knows? We might talk about the Stock Act. Who knows what we're going to talk about?
We might. You never
Who
know.
knows? We might fuck up everything that I just said and talk about the Stock Act. We don't know.
Yeah.
So go to the Patreon, subscribe there. Go to saltofthestreets.com, subscribe there.
I'm excited about it because, like, this is the thing about the After Dark session. The part 5 of 4, if you will, depending
part 5
on
of 4.
Part 5 of 4.
That's what we're calling it.
Nobody knows what we're going to talk about, so we're going to see where we land, and you know, we get a little bit more loose in the tongue, I believe is how they say that. Back in the ye old days, from that time, I'm sure that the quote you're about to read is from.
So again, I want to remind you guys, beer shows on Friday. You can go there. Beer show came out yesterday for the Thaw Out. Silver City liked it themselves. We have the review preview that came out on the 1st of the month for In Order to Live and The Indifferent Stars Above. We have the newsletter that comes out on the last day of the month. And then clips. We have everything. It's going all the time.
Yeah. How did we not get paid for this, Donovan?
We do. We do a little bit. Okay, so this is a piece from a speech entitled Give Me Liberty or Give Me Death.
Ooh.
Founding Father Patrick Henry delivered this rousing speech to encourage the colony of Virginia to send troops to fight in the Revolutionary War. He was successful, and in 1784 became the first governor of the new state of Virginia. So, this is from the mouth of Patrick Henry himself. Let's see, where do I want to start? There is a just God who presides over us, over the destinies of nations, and who will raise up friends to fight our battles for us. The battle, sir, is not the strong alone. It is to the vigilant, the active, and the brave. Besides, sir, we have no election. If we were base enough to desire it, it is now too late to retire from the contest. There is no retreat but in submission and in slavery. Our chains are forged. Their clanking may be heard on the plains of Boston. The war is inevitable, and let it come. I repeat it, sir. Let it come. It is in vain, sir, to extenuate the matter. Gentlemen may cry, peace, peace, but there is no peace. The war is actually begun. The next gale that sweeps from the north will bring to our ears the clash of resounding arms. Our brethren are already in the field. Why we stand here idle? What is it that gentlemen wish? What would they have? Is life so dear, or peace so sweet, as to be purchased at the price of chains or slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course others may take, but for me, give me liberty or give me death.
Can I get a beast?
Welcome to the salt of the streets, coming at you